And actually, speaking of birthdays, because this has become a contentious topic on LetsRun.com among the LetsRun.com staffers. It came from the week that was. So we were talking about Natalie Cook, who is the star from Flower Mound, Texas. And in the fall, she won the running lane at East Bay Cross Country Championships. And then at Indoor Nationals, she ran 9:44 for the full 2 miles, which is second in high school history, only behind Mary Kane. She also helped Flower Mound break the 4 by mile relay record. And her latest accomplishment is she ran 15:25 at the Stanford Invite to break Jenna Hutchins' high school record in that event. So another really impressive feat by Natalie, especially she tops out about 22 miles a week, she said after the race. Which is just crazy that you can be running that fast on such low mileage. She does a good chunk of cross training. Anyway, the big story here is she broke this record. She's put together, I think, well, this is one of the greatest seasons I can remember by a high school girl. When you couple in her dominating at those two cross country national championships, the time she ran indoor track, the time she's run outdoors, I just think it's been a phenomenal campaign for her.
It's been phenomenal, but maybe she should be a freshman in high school. But it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, we pointed this out the week that was. I really like to see her get the US under 20 record, which is 15:20.57, set by Wisconsin Sarah DeSanza. So in December of 2014. Now, DeSanza, her birthday was August of 95. She was a sophomore in college. So this is Cook's last year as a junior, under 20. Yeah, if you turn 20 during the calendar year, that's your last year. So DeSanza was only, born like 3 months later in the summer, and yet she was a sophomore in college when she was running these times, which is kind of interesting. But, yeah, Cook is absolutely amazing. I imagine Dave Smith and Oklahoma State have gotta be so excited. I think it's cool. Like, I think they've done a good job with her. She doesn't run very much. The natural question is like, "Oh my gosh, if she can run more, will she be even better?" But there was something bad about this accomplishment as well. I mean, do you guys think her parents were happy? And her mother, Melissa Gully Cook, who was like a professional runner, her PB is 15:34. Her daughter is now beating that at 15:25. Do you think she was thinking, slow down, slow down, slow down? Or is she thinking, oh man, the super shoes have got to be worth at least 9 seconds? What do you guys think? Who has the edge? Put them both in the same shoes. Melissa Gully Cook in her prime or Natalie Cook in her prime? How much are the shoes worth over 5K?
I think it's right in that area. So I think it would be pretty interesting head to head matchup. But it is interesting. Yeah, I think I wonder at what point does mom just acknowledge like, wow, she's even better than I was. Like she's going to be breaking my records at some point. Like maybe it was like a few months ago. She's just like, yep, that she's going to break my PR at some point. But it is pretty interesting because yeah, she's coached by her dad as well, and you got to give him credit like for figuring out a way to keep her healthy because she battled injuries early in her career, and most athletes, you wouldn't just say like, oh, we're only going to run you 20 miles a week or something. You wouldn't think you'd be able to get the work in, but they've found a way to keep her healthy. And that's always the big thing with some of these superstars, right? Katelyn Tuohy was injured her senior year and going into college. And now she's found a system that's working with Lori Hennis. They've been able to keep her healthy this year, and she's running really, really well. Jenna Hutchins, who's the previous high school record holder in the 5K, broke Tuohy's record, and then her record was broken by Cook. She hasn't raced in over a year, and she actually enrolled early at BYU. She would have been a senior this year as well in high school, but she graduated early. So she's been battling some injuries. Cook, it's the same thing, Clearly, she's a huge talent. You just got to hope that uh, her dad has been keeping her healthy so far. You got to hope that continues, and then you got to hope she stays healthy at Oklahoma State. Because if she can, she's going to do some great things.
Wait, Jenna Hutchings didn't race last outdoors either?
I think her last race was like right around it was like April 2021 or so. I don't think she's raced since then. But yeah, I don't want to hype too much expectations on an 18-year-old high schooler. And yes, Natalie's still only 18 at this point. So, but I just want to appreciate greatness when I see it. And what she's done this year has been great.
Yeah, I didn't want to be Debbie Downer just for the birthday. You kind of caught me on a intellectual hypocrisy. I like to be intellectually
Well,
consistent with Chesrick, but I mean, it's amazing. For the record, her mother ran 15:34, 32:31. Her dad was also an All-American, 14:10, 29:10, 2:19:48. I mean, those would not be All-American now for the dad particularly. But the question I have right now, who do you have in a race? Katelyn Tuohy or Natalie Cook? Natalie Cook would be the NCAA leader. In this race, when she ran the 15:25, she beat, I mean, the person right behind her was the Colorado woman who is the NCAA leader. So
That's a good question, Robert. I think I'd go Tui. I mean, she ran 15:30 when she was second at NCAAs. We've seen her run 4:12 for 1500. I think I'd lean towards her because this race at Stanford, Cook had people to chase. It was get up, they're just chasing times. But yeah, I don't think it's a slam dunk. I think it would be an exciting one for people to watch.
Yeah, Robert threw it out there. I thought that was crazy. I'm like, of course, Tuohy beats her. She just got second NCAAs. It just shows how good Natalie Cook is.
Yeah, I don't think it's a slam dunk. I think it would be an exciting one for people to watch.
Yeah, Robert threw it out there. I thought that was crazy. I'm like, of course, Tuohy beats her. She just got second NCAAs. It just shows how good Natalie Cook is. Speaking of Tuohy, there's a fascinating thread in the forums. I think it was called Nico Young and Katelyn Tuohy Speak Out. It was about podcasts they were on. And then it sort of devolved into the pressure high schoolers face, whether there's like unnecessary pressure and LetsRun, which just what whether high schoolers in general face this. I'm just kind of, I mean, but I guess we see this in all sport, right? Simone Biles. I mean, she's not a high schooler anymore, but these like a lot of these young superstars, it's you're enviable in one position because of the talent you have, but then there's pressure that comes with it. I think they just need to learn with it, but I don't know. Do you guys know who we're talking about the 5K record holder? The men's under 25K record holder is, or
In the United
more accurate,
States?
or more accurately was, yes.
Well, didn't Nico Young?
Yeah. Who had it before that?
German Fernandez.
Yep. And you could he ran what 3:55 as a freshman in the mile. And it's not just the women who don't always pan out, but then I'm seeing a thread today. Sadie Inglehart has now run faster than 800 meters than a thing Mo did at the same age. And I'm like, who's this? The latest freshman sensation in California. And because I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on these kids, but it's like, I think them just being good, they're going to be talked about in LetsRun. LetsRun's the one place they're going to be talked about sort of outside of Twitter and stuff. I think some of it just comes with the territory, right?
Right.
Some people,
Basketball phenoms, you get a basketball phenom they're talked about every year when whoever the number one recruit is. Football phenoms get talked about a lot. It's just track doesn't get very much attention at all. So when you are like the one big superstar from that class, yeah, you are going to be talked about. You're going to be talked about on Let's Run. We're going to talk now. Is it overhyping someone to say if they can stay healthy? I think they're going to be a good runner. I don't, I don't know. I don't think we should be saying, oh yeah, whatever they do from here is like. Do I think Jenna Hutchins is a failure because she's injured right now and she hasn't done anything since that record? No, it's just that just comes with growing. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think just I don't want to be saying like, oh my God, this is the next Olympic gold medalist. But I also think it's disingenuous. We cover the sport. We're just going to ignore great performances by high schoolers because they're in high school. I don't think you can do that.
no, I think what people don't like is probably when you say, oh, they're not going to amount to anything. That's probably really hard for some high school kid to read. And then obviously on an open forum, sometimes you get worse comments than that. But I think you're right. Like people were saying, oh, LeBron won't be that good. He's overrated. He's overrated. He's hyped. But if you're a girl runner as well, there's just the history of so many of them don't pan out. There's just a whole nother thing.
Well, the other interesting thing about running is you can tell, like, the clock doesn't lie. Like, Athing Mo, she won the U.S. Indoor Championships as a high school junior, beating Raven Rogers. Natalie Cook, when she runs 15:25, you know exactly how that compares to the best in the country in those events. So it's not a matter of sort of, I guess you can still project, you can say how much can they improve by, but when they drop a performance that is on the level with pros, when Hobbs Kessler runs 334, you know exactly how they stack up against the rest of the country in that event, which you can't always do just playing against other high schoolers.
The way I view it in terms of pressure is the same way I viewed the Shelby Houlihan t-shirts. People already have their opinion. Like, it's not like LetsRun created this opinion. Like, people were already having this privately. Just with the internet, it's a more public thing now. In a forum, someone says, "Oh, this, I don't think they're going to pan out." I
Yeah.
think they are going to pan out. Those type of things. Sadie Inglehart, we mentioned her on the podcast last week when she ran the 4:36 mile, which was the uh, I think a national or California national freshman record. She ran 2:05.66 for the 1500. But I'm very bullish on Natalie Cook's long-term plans prospects. Why? Because both her parents were good runners. So I
But
don't think she's a flash in the pan, whatever.
I mean, Robert, there's a big one. Yeah, Shelby Houlihan's a pro, though. Robert, Sadie Inglehart's some 15-year-old kid. So we obviously don't allow quite the same discussion, but I'm just kind of glad I wasn't. High school's difficult enough. I guess you should be taught to embrace it. Like, you're really good at this, and may not try to ignore the detractors. But man, there's just a lot of extra pressure. There's more pressure these kids in general these days with social media and whatnot. But if you're a phenom, you're gonna get it from the lovers and the haters.
Okay, speaking of high school phenoms,